Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukaswarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. Yeah, dear devotees, we had an introductory class in the previous week for Narada Bhakti Sutra, aphorisms on divine love. I had told about how, in what sense, the Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion, is easiest path, and what are the 5 modes of sadhana in devotional practice, which is very, very important, and how this worldly love can be converted into spiritual love, and how we can spiritualize our everyday life, spiritualize every emotion by practicing the divine love or following the path of devotion, path of love we had seen. And when we start any activity, we do encounter or we do face problems. From broad classifying, the problems can be classified into 2 groups as a broad classification. One is external problem, the other is internal problem. Similarly, even in the with respect to spiritual life also, we can have external problems. What is that? Lack of conducive atmosphere. Maybe in the house, there are so many people, lot of sound, lot of hustle bustle of life, activities we have got. Sometimes we feel we don't have a conducive atmosphere for our spiritual practice in the house. Sometimes I am interested in spiritual life. Maybe my wife may not be interested, husband may not be interested, children may not be interested, or some relatives, friends, such type of disturbing emotions we do receive from our own people. And sometimes cooperation is also not there. Maybe in our household life or even in the office life, we may face some problem. So these can be classified as external problems in our spiritual life. And which is very important for all of us is internal problems. The internal problems, I mean, it is something to do with me, that my own anger, my own restlessness of the mind, my lustful thoughts, bad thoughts, distracted mind, distracted thoughts, procrastination, laziness, letharginess, unconscious living. These are the internal problems. So if we can go on doing list, I think we can prepare a big list. But the problems are many, no doubt. But Sri Ramakrishna says that all these problems will cease when love dawns in the mind of a devotee, which is very, very important. We have to understand. We say there are terrible problems or obstacles in our spiritual life, but intense love for God can remove all obstacles from the path of God realization. For an example, I love something. I'm passionate about music. Whatever there may be problem internally, externally, I don't mind. I sit for practice music. And someone is interested in movies, watching movies. People may be talking, people may be shouting, people may be calling me, etc., etc. Sometimes I may feel disturbed, no doubt, but I sit and I watch movie because I love it. I'm passionate towards it. I like it. So similarly, when we have got such passion, love, even towards God, our spiritual life can be taken care. We can lead our spiritual life. That's what Sri Ramakrishna is telling that. Try to develop intense love towards God, intense love for God, then spiritual practice is possible. Either you are in the ashram or you are in the house. You may be from any stage of life, from any walk of life. For every one of us, spiritual sadhana, practicing spiritual austerities or spiritual practices, trying to lead a spiritual life is possible when we start loving God. Sri Ramakrishna gives the antidote, solution for all the problems at the root level. Now, the next question we may get it, how to then develop this intense love for God? Because Sri Ramakrishna is saying that once you develop love towards God, then all these problems ceases to exist for you. Externally, they may exist, but you don't bother. You don't be perturbed. Similarly, we can see in the life of Sri Ramakrishna. When Sri Ramakrishna was a sadhaka, he was practicing meditation. He was practicing devotional practices. And many times he used to go and cry for mother. And because his intense longing was there, he felt that he never, one day is over at the sunset, still he couldn't realize God. He couldn't have a darshan of Mother Kali. Then he used to rub his face and rub his body against the soil, and blood used to bleed. And people used to think that he has become mad. He has lost his senses. He has lost his balance of mind. And people were talking so much ill of him, but he was unperturbed by all these things. Many times he never used to listen to all of them. Why? Then was his ears were not working properly? No, it was working properly. But he was obsessed with the God's love. He had such a deep passion, intense passion towards God realization. He never bothered for all these things. So there was no change in external environment, but because of his intense love towards God, intense passion in spiritual practice, it became, it didn't bother Sri Ramakrishna's sadhana. That's what Sri Ramakrishna, by his own experience, is saying that once you get intense love for God, all these things is to exist. Because we all say that, oh, Swami, we are in the family. We have got so many responsibilities. We have got so many duties. And we have got so many obstacles also. So it is not that easy to practice spiritual life. And all we can say, yes, it is true. But Sri Ramakrishna is saying that once if you can develop the love for God, all these things is to exist. Then how to get this love for God? How to achieve the love for God? Sri Ramakrishna says that as much as possible, we should try to repeat Lord's name. Whatever your chosen deity, maybe Christ, maybe Allah, or Ramakrishna, Shiva, Mother, Kali, or Krishna, Lakshmi, whomever we like, the God, the chosen deity, we should try to repeat Lord's name as much as possible. It is not only morning and sitting during meditation time, during japam time, no. When you are bathing, when you are washing, when you are using, cleaning the floor, mopping the floor, when you're cleaning utensils, when you are just walking, when you are driving. Sometimes, of course, driving you have to be conscious. Otherwise, if you start thinking about Lord and if you forget, then you may get accident. You have to be conscious also. Like in the day-to-day activities, in many times, we can also try to remember God. And the second is praise His glories, is merciful, is God is ever compassionate, is such a merciful, is there every time to help us, is waiting for us to help. Whether my devotees, will they call me to seeking the help, I would like to go and help. Is ever ready, but we are not calling Him. We are not opened our hearts to enter Him. That is the reason. So praise His glories. Remember His vibhutis, we say in the Sanskrit. Remember His great personality, great traits, character of the Lord, and we should be aware of that. And the third thing is having the holy company. Who are holy people? Who can bring this God conscious? Who can take us towards God? Who can make us to remember about God? Such people are all holy people. It is not only monks are holy people. Mendicants are holy people. No. Whoever is going nearer to God, either is a monk or maybe a family person, or he may be a bachelor, or he may be small in age, or he may be advanced in age, never mind. But he can bring the God conscious in us. Such people are called holy people. So such company of the holy people we should have. Third. And Sri Ramakrishna tells the fourth one is that if possible, once in a while, we should go to some seclusions, some secluded place, and we should try to remember God in much more intensified way. You may go to some pilgrimages, you may go to temple, you may go to church, you may go to mosque, you may go to forest, you may go to farmhouse. Somewhere in a seclusion, we should try to remember God in much more intensified way, in a concentrated way. This is what Sri Ramakrishna gives the example. And Sri Ram, I think in a Bhagavata, we get an example of Gopi. We know that gopis and all, they were all wives of their own respective men. But when Sri Krishna calls, when they used to hear the flute of Sri Krishna, immediately they used to forget the world and their work and they used to rush towards Krishna. And one husband, he never used to like his wife Gopi to go near Krishna. Of course, in a very pure ecstatic thing, they used to dance, no doubt. So that's why he locked his wife in one room and he locked so that she should not come. Even if she listens to the flute of Krishna, she cannot come. She tried so much. She banged the door. She prayed. She requested him, her husband, but he didn't open the door. Then she understood, okay, this body is the problem for me because I'm in this body. Physically, I'm not able to get out from this room. This physical body is the problem for me. Let me leave this physical body, then I can go and stay with my Krishna. She felt that with her strong willpower, because she had intense love for Krishna, she left this mortal coil, she left this physical body through her subtle body, Sukshma Sharira. She went and she joined Krishna in that Krishna dance, in that ecstatic dance. Means from the devotion, what all possible, we can understand. Such an intense devotion, love, when we have that, then definitely God comes to our rescue. God comes to help us. If that intense devotion is there, whatever the problems may be there outside, but we will be able to remember God. We'll be able to think of God. We'll be able to do our own spiritual practices. That's what Sri Ramakrishna says. And also we should pray for God. Please give me more and more love towards you, not towards this world and worldly objects. Because we are always obsessed with the world and worldly objects. As Sri Ramakrishna himself says, when you are moving towards east direction, it is automatic that you will be far from the west direction. When your love is intensified towards the God, automatically your love and your attachment will be lessened towards the world and worldly objects. Then the question may come, a doubt may linger in your mind. Then should we not live in the world? We are householder peoples. No, definitely you should live in the world, and you should, householder people, definitely they have to live, and even monks, we have to live in the world, no doubt. But living in the world, there is no problem. Sri Ramakrishna tells that, but the worldliness or the world should not be in our mind. This is very, very important. We can live in the world and we have to live in the world, either monk or a householder, no doubt. But the world should not live in my mind. Means the worldliness, samsarikata, prapanchikata, we say in Sanskrit. The worldliness should not stay in the mind. That's we have to understand. We should pray sincerely to God to remove this worldliness, to remove the world from our mind so that we can progress spiritually. Now, before getting into Sutra, let me just give a few maybe list of traits or character of Narada, because he's the author of Narada's Bhakti Sutra. And in my previous class, I told a beautiful story about Narada's life, how it happened. And in the Bhagavata, in the Mahabharata or in Bhagavata, we get a beautiful, list or the picture of Narada. Who is Narada? What type of person this Narada was, They give a list. This Narada, his personality was like, he didn't have any pride at all most of the time. Occasionally, some pride he used to come that he's a great devotee. Most of the time, he never had any pride, no pride. At the same time, he was a very learned person. Whatever the subjects, whatever the knowledge was existed at that time, he was the master of all the subjects, but still there was no pride. And he had such a capacity, intellectual penetration. If he takes any subject, he used to go very deep into the subject and used to master the subject in no time. Such a intellectual penetration capacity he had. But at the same time, he had a very dignified behavior. He never had any loose behavior. He had a dignified behavior. And he was austere. And he was heroic. And he was fearless. See, his dignified behavior is very soft in his approach, but at the same time, he's fearless and he's heroic. This is what very great quality which is seen in the great people. They're soft like flower, and at the same time, they're also hard like diamond. It depends on the situations. When it comes to principles, they're hard like diamonds. When it comes to compassion, helping people, etc., they're soft like butter or soft like flour. And he was free from anger. He was free from lust. He was free from procrastination, they say, very important thing. Tomorrow, let me do tomorrow. Let me meditate tomorrow. After 1 week, I shall start my spiritual practice. After 10 days, I shall start scriptural study. Like that, we keep on postponing things. He never used to do whatever he thinks, he used to start immediately. And there was no discontentment for him. How much ever we get, most of the time, we feel discontent. Initially, I wanted a house. Now I got a house. I said, a house should have so many things. Fine. I got so many furnitures and other things. And I say that I should have a car. Fine. I got a car and I said, no, I should have a higher version like BMW car or whatever. Like that we will have this discontentment. But whereas Narada never had any discontentment and he never had envy or jealousy. And he was a person of self-knowledge and he had a forbearance, tranquility, sense control, straightforwardness, truthfulness, love for God, compassionate and undiluted mind. And so many things like this it goes on. And is the man who stands for self-effort and divine grace. See, the Narada in his previous birth, he was from a poor background he came. He was a son of a maid servant. He never had any schooling. And he didn't know who his father. Before just he came, he was aware, like he was maybe 6 years or 8 years, 10 years. By that time, he didn't know that who is his father. And in no time, his mother also passed away. He was an orphan, he was illiterate. And he used to serve some good people, holy people. And whatever they said, based on that, he meditated, he prayed for God, and he got God vision. So self-effort, Purusha Pratna, we say. So he meant for self-effort, and with the Guru's grace and with the divine grace, and he went to the state of Devarshi, celestial state. From the poor background, from the son of a maid servant, from that state, he became the celestial state. In the subtle body, he can move to any world, in any place, and he can meet any God, and he can control even the natural nature, natural power, movements of planets, movement of sun, movement of moon, so much power he got. So he was the person of self-effort and divine grace also. Though he is a gnani, is a great gnani, and he was the greatest karma yogi, and he was also a greatest bhakta. And now we shall get into the sutras. Now, Narada Bhakti Sutra, we say. Narada's sutras, aphorisms on bhakti and devotion. Now, what is this sutra means? Generally, if you say sutra means, it is called thread. The sutra, there's a definition that whatever we can tell, an idea, which can be told in very possible few letters, few alphabets. A sutra is one which, in a few words, it can be told, it should be told. At the same time, no repetition, no ambiguity, and expressed in a gist form, a vast idea which is expressed in a gist form or in a capsule form. Such it is called as a sutra. And that is the possible way. More than this, even one alphabet you cannot reduce in the sutra. In such a comprehend way, in a compact way, they used to represent the vast idea in just in a very few letters, few alphabets. Now, we shall go to the first sutra. What is the first sutra? I have already given the text to all of you. So probably you'll be knowing. Once I start explaining the sutra, you'll be able to understand, oh, so much meaning, deep meaning has got in this Narada Bhakti Sutra. The first sutra goes like this. Athato bhaktim vyakyasyamaha. So here actually, we have got 4 words. When you break, if you know Sandhi, Sanskrit and all, athato, there are 2 words. One is atha, then ataha. Athato, if you break, then there are 2 words. One is atha, tha, mahaprana, atha, and the second is ataha. Ato, it becomes break, then sandhi, that is ataha, it becomes. Atha, ataha, bhaktim, 3rd word, vyakyasyamaha, 4th word. What is this atha? Means atha refers to after acquiring the competency of mind to understand the path of devotion. Acquiring the competency to understand what is devotion. Atha. See, one simple word, atha, is signifying, it symbolizes, it means one who is competent to understand devotion. One who is competent, eligible, one who can take the path of devotion, the path of love by atha. Then ataha. Ataha means cause, reason. What is the reason? Because the path of devotion is the easiest path leading to the goal of God realization. That's why it has been taken for explanation. See now again, the two words ataha, simple two alphabets ataha, it explains such a beautiful, very deep thing. Ataha is used in the sense of cause, reason. Why should I explain bhakti, or why should I take the path of devotion, if you ask? Because that is the easiest path which leads to God realization. Not for acquiring money, not for having power and position, not for any material comfort. No, it is meant for God realization. Bhaktim, the path of devotion or the devotion, Vyakyasyamaha, we shall explain, and how it to be attained also told in this one word, Vyakyasyamaha. This is the simple literal translation meaning of these four words. Now this atha itself, the first word atha, if you start explaining, from any Pandit, if he starts explaining, then he can explain for at least minimum 3 to 4 hours. If we have got such patience, we have got such hunger for knowledge, interest in knowing things, then we can go to that deep level. Otherwise, we need not to go that. Now, before getting into that, when I said atha, you remember, if you remember my saying that one who is competent, one who is eligible to take the path of devotion, I told. The beauty of Indian scriptures, traditional Indian scriptures, the beauty is in the initially itself, they used to tell who is eligible person, who is the fit person to take the study of this book. That is called adhikari. Adhikari means what? Who is eligible to receive this teaching or to study this book. They used to clearly tell. And here, one who aspires God realization, one who wishes divine love, one who wants God, and one who is not really very happy about the world. Okay, they are okay with the world and worldly objects, worldly pursuits, but at the same time, they want only worldly pursuits. No. If such a material-minded people, definitely you people would not have come to my lecture, this Narada Bhakti Sutra lecture. Since you people have come, that itself shows that you are interested in the suprasensual things. You are interested in God. You are interested in pursuing the spiritual path. You are interested in the self-realization or God realization. So here, contextually, who is adhikari to take Narada Bhakti Sutra study? One who is interested in having the devotion towards God. Eligible, who is eligible candidate. The second is Vishaya. I may be eligible candidate, fine, but I may not be interested in everything. For example, I used to give this example generally, Harry Potter. Some of my friends said Harry Potter is a very beautiful book. They said that, and they were reading, there were a couple of hours they used to sit and read. Then after seeing them, I also thought, okay, let me read. Then I started reading. I was able to understand, no doubt, but I was not interested. After some pages, I thought I'm not interested, and I closed the book. I'm capable to understand, to read the Harry Potter book, no doubt, but I'm not interested in the subject matter of the Harry Potter. So that's why they used to tell that what is the subject matter which is taught in the book. Here in the Narada Bhakti Sutra, the subject matter is devotion. And the third is prayojana. What is the use? Okay, oh Swami, you are discussing about Narada Bhakti Sutra, it seems. So what do I get from that? If I attend your class, Friday's class, what do I get it? How I will be benefited is very important, isn't it? So in Narada Bhakti Sutra also, what is the benefit by practicing the devotion, which is told in Narada's Bhakti Sutras? By practicing, what do I get? You will get supreme devotion, supreme love towards God. That is that prayojana, useful, benefit. And the fourth is sambandha, the relation between the subject matter and the objective to be attained. The relationship between the subject or teaching and the objective to be attained is called sambandha. See how the Indian scriptures from the sages, how they were methodical, rational, and systematic. Initially itself, they used to tell what I am doing it. Now, these four things are called Anubandha Chatushtayam. Chatushtayam means four, Anubandha means connections, fourfold connections. Who is eligible to study this book? And what is the subject matter of this book? And what benefit you are getting from this study of this book? And the fourth is, what is the relationship, connection between the teaching and the objective to be attained? This is called Anubandha Chatushtayam. Now, these four things we can understand in this one sutra, Athato Bhaktim Vyakyasyam. Now, Atha. Atha means what? Again, I said, who is competent to study this book? One who wants to be released, one who wants supreme devotion towards God, one who wants to develop the love towards God, towards divine. He is eligible. Who is adhikari? From the atha, one word, it is told. Then ataha, the second is cause, source, reason, I said. Why it is taken? Because it is the easiest path. What the prayojana? That's what we see in the ataha, the word prayojana. What is the benefit of this learning? Because it is the easiest path for devotion. It is means and as well as the end. In this one word, again, I will explain in detail. Just I'm step by step, I am developing the idea for you. Then Bhakti. What is the subject matter of this book? Narada's aphorisms on Bhakti and devotion. Bhakti means it is devotion. It is a work based on devotion. The subject matter of this work, of this book, is devotion. And Vakyasyama, what is that? And how to attain the devotion has been told. What is the sambandha? What is devotion and how to be achieved has been discussed in this one word, Vakyasyama, we can tell. We may have got interest, but are we capable? Are we eligible? Is very, very important. For an example, I would like to finish my doctoral. I would like to have a PhD. I have got intense desire. Fine, but am I capable? I have got my master's. In my master's, I have got such and such a percentage. Then definitely I can be eligible for pursuing the doctoral degree. So one is desire, the other is capability or eligibility. This both should go hand in hand when we say the word atha. And the one more meaning of this atha is called, it is mangalartha. In the whoever studied scriptures in detail, in depth, from the atha is equal to omkara. Just like we say, Om is a very auspicious word. It is equated with the God. Om and God, both are one and the same. The Om is nothing but the name of the God. The Om itself is the God. Kathopanishad says, Om is the means and the end. Just like it is equalized as a synonym for the word Almighty. So even the Atha is also said that. And in most of the sutras, they start with the word Atha because it symbolizes the auspiciousness. So let me remember Omkar and let me start doing things. Why? Because of auspiciousness. So even this Atha also stands for auspiciousness. Now, in Vedanta, if you have heard my Tattvabodha talk, now I have taken Aproksha Anubhuti again, one of the introductory text of Advaita Vedanta, non-dualistic philosophy, where Dharmata, he listens regularly. There we speak about 4 basic qualifications. One is what? One who has got discrimination between real and unreal. The second is dispassion. I want Atman and Atman alone. I don't want anything, either this world or the above worlds and the benefits of it. I don't want dispassion. The third is discipline. I should have a discipline for my control of body, mind, senses, all these things. The fourth is intense desire for liberation. That's what we see in the Vedanta, in Advaita Vedanta. And if you see Karma Mimamsa or in Purva Mimamsa, the Adhikari, one who has studied Veda, he can only study the Purva Mimamsa Shastra, a school of philosophy which can be studied. They say the beauty, whereas here there are a lot of do's and don'ts and qualifications are given in the Advaita Vedanta as well as in the Purva Mimamsa. Whereas in the beauty of this devotion and the path of devotion is such qualification is not at all prescribed. Are you interested to take the path of devotion? Or do you love God? Or do you want to increase your love towards God? That's enough. You belong to any religion, we don't bother. You belong to any caste, we don't bother. You belong to any race, we don't bother. Whether you are a sinful man or a virtuous man, we don't bother. Oh, I have done a lot of sin. I have committed a lot of blunders, mistakes. Then can I take the path of devotion? Yes. If you want to change yourself and if you want to move yourself towards God, yes, you can take the path of devotion. That is the beauty of this Bhakti Yoga. To make you understand, that's why I gave that background of Advaita Vedanta's prerequisite and Purva Mimamsa's prerequisites. And you belong to any country, you belong to any race, you belong to any culture, you belong to any either male or female, it never mind. Are you interested to move towards God, to develop love towards God? That is enough for us. You are literate or illiterate, never mind. Whether you are poor or rich, never mind. So belief in God and His grace, it is the eligible ship in the Bhakti Yoga. So what is, am I fit? Am I adhikari? Am I eligible person? Yes, we all of us are eligible to take the path of devotion. Why? Because we want God. We want to increase our love towards God. We want to move ourselves towards more and more towards God. That's why we are all capable, or we are all eligible to take this path of devotion. And that's why in the Shandilya Bhakti Sutra, Shandilya says that everyone, even from the lowest born to the highest born, everyone is eligible to the path of devotion, which Shandilya Muni says that. Now, Ataha, so who is eligible, we have discussed in detail. The second is Ataha, Hetvartha, cause or reason. I would like to discuss little in detail. What are the reasons that prompted Narada to write in preference to karma or jnana yoga? The path of karma, the path of selfless action, the path of knowledge, the path of psychic control, and that is a Raja Yoga. Instead of all these things, he had an knowledge of all these things, and he was a good gnani, greatest gnani, he was greatest karma yogi, and he was a established person in meditation and all. But still, why did he write only Bhakti Yoga? Why he preferred towards Bhakti than all other paths? What is the reason? What is the cause? If you ask, then the beauty of the Bhakti is it is the path, it is the means as well as the end. The Bhakti is the path, it is the means as well as the end. So it is all subtle concepts, very subtle things. You have to understand. It is the beginning and it is also end. It is the path, means, and also it is the end goal to be achieved. And it is the easiest among all the paths. Why? Because a man is primarily, we are emotional beings. Emotions are very, very strong for most of us. Afterwards, intellectual, afterwards, thinking and spirituality, all things comes afterwards. Basically, we are emotional beings. That's why we charged with emotions. People, immediately they react. So these emotions can be turned towards God easily because that is there always in us in a predominant way. But it is towards God, towards world or worldly objects and towards people, only we have to divinize it, we have to spiritualize it, we have to turn them towards the God. That's why it is the easiest among all the paths. That's why Narada took to start explaining the Bhakti, or rather that's the reason he composed sutras for Bhakti. And also, it is the only path available to all beings. And already I said in Purva Mimamsa, one who has studied in Veda, then only. For example, someone is born in Ireland, then if he can take Purva Mimamsa study, no, because he has not studied Vedas. But whereas in the path of devotion, yes, anyone can do. Oh, can I practice devotion which Narada has told? Like Dharma asked me, I said, yes, if you're interested in God, the God can be of any religion, never mind. If you want to, develop a love towards God, definitely you can take this path of devotion. So it is available for everyone, irrespective of caste, creed, religion, sex, country, culture, all these things. And it is also a helpful even to those who aspire for Jnana. Even Adi Shankaracharya, in his commentaries, he tells a lot that we need bhakti, otherwise we cannot get Jnana. Because Chitta Ekagrata is required, etc., etc. So many things he discusses in his commentaries. And we can see in the life of Totapuri, who was the sannyasa guru for Sri Ramakrishna. He was the greatest Gnani. He had a Nirvikalpa Samadhi, and he taught Nirvikalpa Samadhi, how to attain Nirvikalpa Samadhi to Sri Ramakrishna. But afterwards, he never took the path of devotion. He was, when Sri Ramakrishna used to clap his hands and do prayer, and he used to say, oh, are you making chapatis? Are you making pancakes? He used to make a laugh. Because Totapri never believed in God with form. He never had any devotion as such. He was a great gnani. He was always think, Atman, I am Brahman and I am Atman. But at some point of time, it came such a devastation in his life, such a rude shock in him, in such a thing that he had to accept Mother Kali. Then when after accepting, when Sri Ramakrishna used to sing, used to ask Sri Ramakrishna to sing. When Sri Ramakrishna used to sing, he used to sit nearby and used to profuse tears. She used to shed tears. After Gnana, attaining Gnana, he turned towards Bhakti. Because Bhakti is such a beautiful thing. So maybe that's one of the reasons. Of course, all Gnanis will turn towards Bhakti at the end. We cannot say that. But there are ample examples, many examples we can see also. And more than this, all these things, Narada himself was convinced that the devotion, the path of devotion is very easy. And he himself was the greatest Bhakta. By self-effort and as well as the divine grace, from the humble beginning, he became the celestial sage. So one word, ataha, just two words, ataha, there's so many things we can go on, keep on telling. And in atha, the first atha, that I said Mangalartaka, and the other is eligibility. Again, probably for 2 more hours, I can go on give the lectures. That is the beauty of the Sanskrit language. And that is the beauty of the sutra form. So the vast idea, which can be written, which has to be written probably in detail if you write, it goes pages after pages, few pages, that is written, that has been hidden, engraved, or done in, hidden in the, just like in a very capsule form, that is a sutra. Probably if you see computer, in the computers until we say get chips. In the chips, there are a lot of electrical circuits has done, which has got a lot of functional capacity, eligibility. So small chips, we see that, IC chips, we say that. So similarly, these sutras are also. The vast idea has been embedded, has been beautifully put in the small few letters. That is the greatness of sutras. Then the third is Vyakyasyamaha. I shall comment upon, I shall explain. Why? Because everyone may not be knowing what is devotion, what is love towards God, how to get it, what it is, how to get it, how to achieve it, and by achieving, what happens. Many of us, we will not be knowing all these things. That's why I would like to explain to you in clearly how to get this bhakti. Probably I'll give an example how this bhakti will help. The one of the best example which now it is coming to my mind is Girish Chandra Ghosh. He had a marriage and wife passed away, and afterwards he had a second marriage, and he was a great man of intellect. At the same time, he used to make 2 people to sit and used to dictate parallelly for 2 people's 2 different subjects. 2 dramas used to dictate dialogues and other things simultaneously, one after another, one after another. Such an intelligent man, such a wise man, but he led one of the most immoral life. As he himself says, that whatever I was drinking, if I keep one after above the bottles, then probably the height will surpass the Mount Everest. Means so much liquor, so much drinking he had. And he went to prostitute's house, and gambling probably he might have done. All these things he had done in his life, but he surrendered to Sri Ramakrishna. And because of his divine grace, what all things happened in in Girish Chandra Ghosh's life, we can think, we can remember here. And the beauty, and the one more beauty is, who is the author of Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, immortal gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, immortal words of Sri Ramakrishna. That is Master Mahashaya Mahendranath Gupta. He was the greatest Brahmagnani. And the same person, he wanted to end his life because there are a lot of family problems. He was disgusted with the family problems. He wanted to end his life. He wanted to try also, but unfortunately it didn't happen. But he came into contact with Sri Ramakrishna accidentally. And once he came into accidentally with Sri Ramakrishna, he was influenced by Sri Ramakrishna. He started coming to Sri Ramakrishna. Instead of self-suicidal, instead of suicide himself, he became the man of realization, man of self-realization, man of God realization. Instead of becoming Brahmahatya, means suicide, which is told in Sanskrit, he became Brahmagnani, the knower of Brahman. How? Because of Guru's grace, because of divine grace. Whatever the Guru said, whatever the the Lord, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said, he just followed literally. Then instead of suiciding his life, instead of his ending his life, he became the knower of Brahman, knower of the God. That is the role of bhakti. That is the importance of bhakti. And probably dacoits from Kosalpur, probably in some other time I will tell, which is a very interesting story. And yesterday I was reading Balram Bose. Whoever studied life of Sri Ramakrishna in detail, they will be knowing. The Balram Bose is a devotee, who is an ardent devotee of Sri Ramakrishna. And he and his family led a very pure life, and whatever they acquired, the wealth also in a eligible, in a ethical way, they had acquired the money and all. So basically, it was very religious and spiritual family. And Sri Ramakrishna, whenever he used to go to Calcutta from Dakshineshwar, in their house only used to take a rice. In other houses, mostly used to take either fruits or sweets only, or maybe water, not more than. Why? Because most of the time he was not able to take because of their contaminated mind. And whereas in the Balram Bose house, he used to take because they come from that very pure family and the rice is very pure there. And by that time, Sri Ramakrishna left his mortal coil, and Balram Bose is at advanced age, and his death has come near, and his wife was crying bitterly. So she was taken to the next room to console her. Just at some point of time, there was very thick clouds. Thick clouds came and covered the sun. Then Balram Bose's wife understood, okay, the end is coming to my husband. Why? Because there are thick clouds are coming. Probably it is indication. And she had a darshan. The thick clouds slowly became condensed and it took a form. It took the form of Sri Ramakrishna with a chariot. And she seen, and Sri Ramakrishna, he descended, he came down from the chariot, he came and he holded Balram Bose. He holded Balram Bose in his hands and he said, come, let us go. And he took Balram Bose, he made him to sit in the chariot, and both of them, they went away. They went in the chariot, and in no time, in just a minute, she received a message. She receives information that Balram Bose has left his mortal coil. She starts crying or whatever you say. And it happened just maybe 125 years before. Why? Because Balram Bose was such an ardent devotee of Sri Ramakrishna. He had a love towards God, towards Sri Ramakrishna, the Bhagavan, the Lord. As a result, Sri Ramakrishna himself came, he holded his hands and he took for Ramakrishna Loka, or for the heaven, or for Mukti, or whatever we can say, according to our belief and faith. That's what happens from divine grace. And how do we get this divine grace? By love. Love towards what? Love towards God. Love towards our chosen deity. And we have got so many stories like this in this Ramakrishna order. We have got galaxy of monks and galaxy of devotees who have got such type of experiences where they did receive the visions of Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, Swamiji, their gurus, and so on and so forth. How it is possible? It is all possible by bhakti alone. It is all possible by devotion alone. It is possible by own pure love towards God. And what is that? In the next sutra, in the second sutra, the author, the Narada, is telling that Sa tu asmin parama prema rupa. Sa tvasmin parama prema rupa, it is there. Again, if you break, it has become Sa tu asmin prema parama prema rupa. Sa, third, bhakti. That means what here? That means bhakti. Tu asmin means towards him. Tu asmin means towards him. Asmin means him. Tu means towards. Parama, prema rupa. It is of the nature of supreme love. So what is devotion? In this one word, it is told that prema rupa, parama prema rupa. One is, it is love. It is in the form of love. Prema rupa. What is bhakti? It is prema rupa. It is in the form of love. Devotion. What is devotion? It is in the form of love. And what type of love? It is a supreme love. It is in the form of supreme love. So we need not to get now confused about what is devotion. So very clearly Narada is telling that, the Narada Muni, the great sage, celestial sage, Narada is telling that what is devotion? It is supreme love towards God. Why it is supreme? because we have got love towards things, material things, we have got love towards world and worldly objects, love towards people, then all of them can be devotion now. So by adding the one word, parama, means supreme, it is that the telling that it is not the materialistic love, it is not the worldly love, rather it is the supreme love, which is towards God. Means I want God and God alone. Okay, I am with the family, I would like to take care of my family, I will serve the family, and whatever the responsibilities are there as a wife or as a husband, as a parent, as a children, whatever our duties, responsibilities are there, we shall all do that, no doubt, from the sense of duty. But my mind will be always fixed on God, because I want to attain, I want to achieve the supreme love towards God. That is Sa Bhakti Parama Prema Swarupa. So let me explain this more in the next class. If you got any questions, I would like to receive the questions based on this class today.